Math-aral, sa Math walang maiiwan. Math-sayang Math-aral, tayo ng Math-tuto upang ika'y umasenso. Maging matyaga, maging matalino, halina Math-aral na tayo. Maging matyaga, maging matalino, halina Math-aral na tayo. Halina Math-aral na tayo. Halina Math-aral na tayo. Halina, 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 aral na tayo.
Math-sayang araw muli sa mga batang Mandalenyo at mga home learning partners. Welcome muli sa ating Project SOAR, series of online academic reviews of mathematics CLAID learning modules. Kanina ay natunghayan natin ang video lessons for week 5 ng grade 7, 8, 9 at 10. Ngayon naman ay ating panoorin ang video lesson for week 5, statistics and probability. Our next speaker is a Special Science Teacher 1 at City of Mandaluyong Science High School, where she is also an alumna. She is a graduate of Bachelor of Secondary Education, major in Mathematics at Philippine Normal University, Batch 2017. She is currently taking her degree in Master of Science in Teaching Mathematics at De La Salle University, Manila. Let us all welcome Ms. Karen V. Rosol.
A blessed day, everyone, especially to our Education Program Supervisor in Mathematics, Mr. Restituto Rodelas, to our school head, Mr. Roderick Menjola, to our Mathematics Head Teacher, Mr. Loreto Narvar, and to our Senior High School Focal Person, Mrs. Stephanie Fababair, to my students from City of Mandaluyong Science High School, and to Batang MANDunongs, again, I am Ma'am Karen Rosol at ako ang inyong makakasama sa hapong ito para matuto ng Week 5 ng Statistics and Probability. Ang topic natin ngayon ay Interpreting Mean and Variance of Probability Discrete Distribution. Handa na ba kayo? Tara na't sabay-sabay na matuto sa matsayang araw na ito, mga batang mandunong. Bago tayo magsimula, syempre, kailangan alamin muna natin kung anong objectives natin para sa araw na ito. Okay? At the end of the video, the students should be able to, una, calculate the mean, variance, and standard deviation of a probability discrete random variable. Pangalawa, interpret mean, variance, and standard deviation of a probability discrete random variable. And, pangatlo, understand the importance of computations involving probability discrete random variable. Siyempre, bago tayo magsimula, kakailanganin din muna natin mag-recap. I-review natin kung ano yung napag-aralan natin last week. Last week, napag-aralan natin how do we compute for the mean, for the variance, and for the standard deviation of a discrete random variable. Unahin muna natin ang mean. Una, we construct the probability distribution of the discrete random variable. Pangalawa, we multiply the value of the discrete random variable to its corresponding probability. And then the third, we get the summation of the products of the squared value of the random variable and its probability. Mapunta naman tayo kung paano computein ang variance at standard deviation. Una, of course, we find the mean of the discrete random variable. Pangalawa, we square each value of the discrete random variable. Pangatlo, we multiply the squared value of the discrete random variable to its corresponding probability and then find the summation of the products. Step 4, we use the formula to find the variance. So what is the formula again in finding the variance? Ito yon. The sigma squared is equal to the summation of the product ng squared value natin ng discrete random variable multiplied to its corresponding probability, and then we subtract that to the squared value of our mean. And then the step 5, we find the standard deviation by getting the square root of the variance. So same, but you have to get the square root. If you were to ask 10 people to rate a same thing, for example, a new packaging of a product, diba, some people may like it, pero others may not like it. And the opinion of each person is subjective, and it will be based on their personal preference. What if we need more objective measure of acceptance? So, statistical tools such as the mean and the standard deviation, this allows us for objective measure of opinion and provide a basis for comparison. That is why we are going to focus our study this afternoon about mean. Okay? A mean, this is a measure of a central tendency, or measure ito of a position that balances the distribution. So ito it is like the point at the middle of a seesaw, so that the left and right side of the distribution are equal. Mean of a discrete random variable, this is also known as expected value. Yung events natin that may be repeated many times, just like simple tossing of coins, rolling a die, and then betting into a lotto game, and other activities, this will produce the same average or the expected average outcome over many observations. Another two important tools we use in statistics are variance and standard deviation. These are measures of variability or measures of spread. It is not only important for us to locate the point where the distribution will be balanced, because it is possible na different random variables pwedeng meron silang parehas na mean, pero they have different distribution. Since yung isa pwedeng mas kalat siya, or yung isa naman mas malapit siya sa mean. Ayan. Because these two, it tells us how data are close to our mean. Okay? In statistics, the smaller the variance, the better. As we go on with our study, on this, we will further understand variance and standard deviation. Okay, let us have our first example. We are to find the expected outcome when a die is rolled many times. So, to find the expected outcome, diba, sabi natin another term for the mean of the probability distribution of a discrete random variable is expected value. So, we have to compute for the mean. So, by constructing the probability distribution, we know that there are possible 6 outcomes. That is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then 6. And they have equal chances, no? Kaya 1 over 6, 1 over 6 for 2, 1 over 6 also for 3, and up to the phase 6, 1 over 6 pa rin. Ayan. Okay, so that is the first step. The next thing to do is for us to multiply the value of the random variable to its corresponding probability. So, ito nga yun, yung product. So, 1 times 1 over 6, 2 times 1 over 6, 3 times 1 over 6. We also have 4 times 1 over 6. 5 times 1 over 6. We have 6 times 1 over 6. And simplifying that, we have 1 over 6, 2 over 6, 3 over 6, 4 over 6, 5 over 6, and then 6 over 6. And then the next step is we find the summation of the products of the values of the random variable and its corresponding probabilities. So, by simply getting the sum, itong mga products natin na ito, okay, sabayan nyo ako mag-compute. We have here 1 over 6 plus 2 over 6 plus 3 over 6, 4 over 6 plus 5 over 6 plus 6 over 6. This is equal to ano ang sagot? Very good. That is equivalent to 3.5. Okay, meaning this is the expected value enrolling a die. Pero itong 3.5, no, hindi naman natin siya makikita sa phases. But this is the theoretical average. Now, let us look at the histogram of this event. As you can see, for our horizontal or our x-axis, we have here the possible outcomes, which are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then 6. And for our vertical, we have here the corresponding probabilities. So, they have equal chances, meaning for 1, 1 over 6, 1 over 6, 1 over 6, 1 over 6 for 4, 1 over 6 for 5, and then 1 over 6 for 6. And we know that 1 over 6, this is approximately 0.1667. And from our previous slide a while ago, the expected outcome is 3.5, meaning that the distribution is balanced at point 3.5. Ngayon naman, let's try example number 2. Gabriel is planning to play an online game where it is possible for him to lose 2,000, break even, win 1,000, and win 5,000. Find the expected outcome if he plays, and will the odd be at his favor? The probability distribution for each outcome is given in the table below. So, in constructing the probability distribution, we consider the possible outcomes. So, possible na he will lose 2,000 pesos, kaya negative 2,000. Nakalagay din dito, we have break even. So, 0. He will not lose, and then he will not gain something. And then another is the term win 1,000. Ibig sabihin, he will be gaining 1,000 pesos or he will win 5,000 pesos. That's why in our table, we have here negative 2,000 for the possible outcomes. We have 0. This is for the break-even. Win 1,000 and then win 5,000. And these are the corresponding probabilities for each outcome. And this is our probability distribution. Now, ngayon naman, i-multiply natin ang value ng random variable to its corresponding probability. Negative 2,000 times 0.30, that will give us negative 600. 0 times 0.40, that will give us 0. Next, 1,000 times 0.20, that will give us 200. 5,000 times 0.10, that will give us 500. And then, we find the summation of the products of the values of the random variable and its corresponding probabilities. Sabayan nyo ako mag-compute, ha? So, ilalagay natin itong mga product. So, we have negative 600 plus 0, plus 200 plus 500. Ano ang sagot? That is 100. So our mean is equal to 100. Meaning, Gabriel is expected to win 100 pesos after repeatedly playing the game. Since nag-win siya ng 100 pesos, so, this will be in his favor. Diba? Nakuha po ba? Ayan, very good. Sabi nga natin kanina, kung ang mean ay measure of position, ang variance naman ay measure of spread. And in analyzing, it is not only important to locate the point where the distribution will be balanced. Siyempre, kailangan din nating i-consider kung yung data ba sa set ay spread out. So, let us consider the examples below. Unahin muna natin si probability distribution of x. So, may nakalagay na dito na value. We have negative 2 corresponding to a probability of 1 over 10. Negative 1 corresponding to a probability of 2 over 10. 0 corresponding to a probability of 4 over 10. 1 corresponding to a probability of 2 over 10. And then 2 corresponding to a probability of 1 over 10. So, computein natin ngayon. Ano yung mean nila? So, multiplying the values of x, and then to its corresponding probability, we have negative 2 over 10. We have negative 2 over 10. We have 0. We have 2 over 10. And we have 2 over 10. Now, what have you observed from their mean? For probability distribution of x, we have a mean which is equal to 0. Now, tignan naman natin, ano yung sa probability distribution of y natin. So, for values of y, we only have negative 3 and 3. And its corresponding probability ay 1/2 and then 1/2. And computing the product of the values of y to its corresponding probability, we have negative 3/2 and then 3/2. Getting also the mean, we have 0. So, anong napansin natin? Both of them have the same mean or expected value, which is equal to 0. Okay, so kung ikukumpara natin ang dalawang distribution na ito based on the mean, then we can say na they do not differ from each other since parehas nga sila ng mean. Pero, yun nga ba talaga ang kaso? Siyempre, to answer that question, let us look into the two histogram. Okay, so we have here a histogram for our probability x. And then, for our probability of y. What have you observed from the two? Mapapansin nyo na dito sa probability of x natin, yung probability distribution natin for x, malapit sila sa mean. Diba? Ito kasi ang ating mean. Ayan. Pero, dito sa isa, sa probability distribution of y natin, ito ang ating mean. But, yung mga scores natin ay malalayo sa bawat isa. That is why we need also to compute for the variance and standard deviation. Ngayon naman, computein natin ang kanilang variance and ang kanilang standard deviation. Sige, this is for the probability distribution of x. So, after completing the table, ito ang mga values na lumabas sa atin. Diba? We have negative 0.2. Negative 0.2, we have 0. We have 0.2, 0.2. We have for x squared, We have 4, we have 1, we have 0, we have 1, we have 4. And for the product ng square ng ating possible outcome, so its corresponding probability, we have 0.4, we have 0.2, we have 0, we have 0.2, and then we have 0.4. Ngayon naman, kumpitin natin. What is our formula para sa ating variance? So, we have the sigma squared, that is equal to the summation ng ating product ng x squared to its corresponding probability minus the square of our mean. So, kunin natin ngayon. Ano ang summation natin? Ang sagot, okay, very good. This is equivalent to 1.2. So, lalagay natin ha, 1.2 minus ano yung ating mean? Diba? We have 0 squared. And then, ang sagot natin for our variance ay 1.2. Now, let's compute for the standard deviation. What is the square root of 1.2? Very good. 1.10. Now, puntahan naman natin yung sa y natin. Okay, as you prepare the values, ito ang mga values na meron tayo. For our outcome to its corresponding probability, we have negative 1.5, we have 1.5, y squared. Squaring our possible outcomes, we have 9 and then 9. And we know na if we are going to multiply the square of our possible outcome, so its corresponding probability will have 4.5 and then 4.5. Now, computin naman natin kung ano yung variance and standard deviation ng ating probability distribution of y. So, summation y squared to its corresponding probability and then minus our mean. So, ano ang ating summation? Ano ang sum nito? This is equivalent to 9. Very good. And then, what is our mean? Our mean is equal to 0. So, 9 minus 0 squared, we have 9. And then, getting the standard deviation, what is the square root of 9? We have 3. So, ibig sabihin, yung variance and yung standard deviation natin ng random variable x ay mas maliit doon sa variance and the standard deviation ng ating y. Meaning, yung random variable x natin, they have less variability than y. And in statistics, the lesser the variability or the lesser the spread of the data in the given set, we consider that as better. Now, let's proceed to example number 3. In a factory, a certain part of a car is being produced. The target number of parts that should be produced in a day is 100. The quality control officer checks and records all parts that are produced in a day. The data for a 20-day production are shown on the table below. Find the average number of parts produced in 20 days. Did they meet the target number of parts that should be produced in a day? Determine the variance and standard deviation and tell if there is a big difference between the average number of parts produced to the number of parts produced daily in 20 days. So here are our data. We have 102, we have 100, 98, 100, 101, 102, 102, 100, 99, 102, 101, 99, 100, 100, 100, 100, 100, 100, 102, and 98. Now, let's prepare. Let's follow the steps. for us to compute for the expected value and for us to compute for the variance and the standard deviation. Una, we construct the probability distribution. So here is the probability distribution. So for 98, we have 2 over 20. For 99, we also have 2 over 20. For 100, we have 9 over 20. For 101, we have 2 over 20. And for 102, we have 5 over 20. Next, we multiply each value of the random variable to its corresponding probability. As we do that, we just simply multiply yung number of parts natin dun sa kanya-kanyang corresponding probability. So, we just multiply. Ito. Okay, we just get the product and here are our products. We have 196 over 20, 198 over 20, 900 over 20, 202 over 20, and 510 over 20. And for our next step, we get the summation of the product. Ano ang summation natin ng product natin? So, syempre, we just have to add itong third column natin. Yan. Itong kabuuan na ito. From 196 over 120 until 510 over 120. Sige nga. Very good. That's 100.3. So, the average number of parts that they have produced in 20 days is 100.3 parts or at least 101. Diba? And they have met also yung target number of parts natin that should be produced in a day. Kasi nga, yung target number of parts that they need to produce in a day, it's only 100. Yet, ang nakuha natin ay 100.3 or at least 101. Diba? Parts a day in 20 days. Now, let's compute to find the variance. So, alam na nga natin kung ano ang ating mean. Next, we square each value of the random variable. So, yan nga ang gagawin natin. So, squaring yung 98. Eto. You just have to square that. And then, these are the values for that. Corresponding values. So, 9,604, 9,801, we have 10,000, 10,201, 10,404. Next step, we multiply the square value of the random variable to its corresponding probability, then get the summation of the product. So, i-multiply natin. After getting the square, ito, i-multiply naman natin siya dun sa corresponding probability. So, ito nga ang makukuha natin. So, we have the following, 19,208 over 20, 19,602 over 20, 90,000 over 20, we have 20,402 over 20, and then 52,020 over 20. Hope we got the same computations also. Yan. And then, ang susunod na nagagawin natin is we get. Now, sa third step, we multiply the squared value of the random variable to its corresponding probability, then get the summation of the products. So, ano yung summation natin sa products natin kanina? We have, that is equal to, very good, 10,061.6. And then the next step, apply the formula in finding the variance. So, using the data that we have also a while ago, we know that our mean, that is equal to 100.3. So, do the math. This is 10,061.6 minus the square of our mean, which is 100.3. What do we have for our variance? Okay, very good. That's 1.51. Now, lastly, we are to compute for the standard deviation by getting the square root of the variance. So, Kunin lang natin what is the square root of our 1.51. That is approximately 1.23. Ano ang ibig sabihin? How do we interpret? Ibig sabihin, the variance of the distribution is 1.51 and the standard deviation is 1.23, meaning those are both small numbers which indicates na the number of parts produced per day in 20 days are less dispersed and that the average which is 100.3 parts, they do not differ or is very close from the number of parts produced per day in 20 days. So that is how important also that we determine the mean, the variance, and the standard deviation for us to easily analyze the data that we have depending on the situation or the event that we are pertaining to. Okay? Yeah. So, thank you. Be safe always. And God bless you all.